I wasn't massively looking forward to this movie. The first Captain Marvel was probably one of the weakest MCU movies, and Brie Larson's performance wasn't particularly charismatic. Still, I did enjoy the Ms. Marvel TV show and was definitely looking forward to seeing her again. But they may have over-egged the pudding by also including Monica Rambeau and making the group a trio. It's not a bad movie, it's a lot of fun, but it does try to cram too much into a relatively short runtime. Hopefully there'll be an extended version somewhere down the line. This is much more of a space opera than usual. Straight away we learn that humanity is now exploring alien planets, presumably in secret, although that's never made clear. Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau both find themselves investigating a space-time anomaly, which through some barely explained technobabble leads to them all swapping places with Ms. Marvel, and they all have to come together to defeat Dar-Ben of the Kree. So there is quite a lot of prior knowledge required, not just the first Captain Marvel movie, but you have characters here from Ms. Marvel and WandaVision, and even one from Hawkeye. There's not much attempt to explain Kamala and Monica's backstories. Even when they're explaining how they got their powers, they try to keep it as brief as possible. I'm up to date with all the Disney Plus movies and shows, but anyone who wasn't might be a bit confused. While the first Captain Marvel movie was all about Carol trying to recover her memories and find out who she was, this one is more about her learning to connect with others. She's been off trying to save the universe single-handed, and ended up being cursed as a demon by the Kree. So I guess her journey this time is all about opening up and learning to become part of a team. Brie Larson is a lot more likeable here than she was in the first movie, but her character is still a bit of a blank slate. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan feels much more like the main character of the movie, being both the audience surrogate and the comic relief. Her enthusiasm and natural comic timing really shines through, and hopefully she will continue to be front and centre as the MCU continues. The last scene before the credits suggests she will, as she recruits Kate Bishop in a note-perfect parody of Nick Fury's scene at the end of Iron Man. It makes no sense in universe, but it's hilarious all the same. Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau is the least interesting of the lead trio, as indeed she was one of the least interesting characters in WandaVision. I guess her role is a bit thankless, as she's really the sensible, boring one who has to pull the other two together, so I guess she's never going to be anyone's favourite character. But the ending does suggest that she will become a lot more important in future movies, so hopefully the character can develop a lot more in those. Samuel L. Jackson is also back as Nick Fury. I assume this is meant to take place after Secret Invasion, but where that show was all about Nick Fury's failure to find the Skrulls, a whole world outside of Earth, this movie completely contradicts that by showing an alien planet where the Skrulls have been living for years. Admittedly, these Skrulls do end up on Earth at the end, which is supposed to be a happy ending for them, but anyone who's seen Secret Invasion will know that Skrulls are now public enemy number one. So it's not a happy ending at all. It's all really confusing and suggests that Secret Invasion is probably better off just being skipped. The main villain is Dar-Ben, played by Zoe Ashton. She's done a lot of good work in the past, but here she's sadly reduced to a bit of a one-dimensional, snarling villain. It's a shame as her character is absolutely justified in hating Carol, who basically turned her home planet into a hellhole. But sadly she's not portrayed as being at all reasonable, when she well could have been. Overall, this movie is a lot of fun. Kamala's fangirling over Carol never stops being funny, and her whole family are also good value. They're all portrayed as regular people reacting to all this sci-fi alien weirdness, which is always an entertaining contrast. There are also plenty of good set pieces along the way, including the extended song and dance sequence on the musical planet, which is not something you would expect from most Marvel movies. Some of the fight scenes are a bit incoherent, especially when all three characters keep swapping places, and I'm not entirely sure the plot hangs together, but it's still a fun family movie, and anyone who's up on all the law should definitely enjoy it. Now, I try to avoid spoilers in my reviews, but I can't leave without talking about the big end credits scene. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, then just skip ahead a minute or two. So this end credits scene was a massive surprise. One guy in my cinema even shouted, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Which has never happened to me in a British cinema before. Especially not one that only had 20 or 30 people in. So basically, Monica Rambeau ends up in the X-Men universe. They've been teasing these two universes coming together for a few years now. But this is the first time it's actually definitely happened. And if you're like me and have followed both universes religiously, it's a huge moment. I don't know how they will follow this up. Maybe in Deadpool 3, Monica will return to her own universe and bring Deadpool with her. Or they might be saving that for the next big Avengers movie. I guess Secret Wars would have a lot more impact if it involved characters from the Avengers and the X-Men all coming together for the first time. That's still 3 years away, but hopefully it'll be worth the wait. So that's my review. I don't know when I'll next be going to the cinema. The big Christmas movie this year is Aquaman 2. And frankly, I'm not entirely sure I'll be all that bothered about seeing it. The actor strike has meant that a lot of next year's movies have been pushed back. So there's not much to look forward to on the superhero front, except for Deadpool 3. I have been thinking about rewatching all of the Fox X-Men movies before that one comes out. I was a big fan of them at the time, but I never got around to watching the last one, Dark Phoenix, so that could make for an interesting project. So if you like the sound of that, then please subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.